you will cease to exist on this planet as a physical being.
Ladies and gentlemen,
you are now about to witness
the journey that is the Lyfe Choyces podcast.
Yeah!
You want to know what I struggle with the most? I would say the thing that I struggle with the most would be knowing who truly has my back. And where that stems from for me is when I was a kid, I never went to the same school for more than 2 years. So every 2 years I changed schools for various reasons. And I always had to try to make new friends, which I did. And then obviously you change schools, you lose touch. And once I became an adult, I chose to be a bit more cautious when becoming friends with people. Trust was not something I was willing to give many people. So over the years of being an adult, that whole trust issue with others is still in the back of my head, because very few people will show you that they truly have your back. And unfortunately, sometimes the people you think that do have your back, for no fault of anyone, but people are people. And sometimes you find out through the grapevine, things being said, things being done, people's true opinions about you. And as much as I celebrate zero fucks giving, and I care less nowadays about what people might think about me, it still hurts when you think someone who is part of your ride or die does or says something that shows their true colors. But they are doing you a huge favor, because when they show you that, or without even them knowing that they showed you that, they're saving you the time, because at least now you know that you don't have to waste any more of your time or energy being around that person, talking to that person, looking out for that person. It helps you learn how to cut ties with people that no longer serve any positivity in your life. So I'm fortunate because I do have, I want to say, between 1 and 3 non-blood related people in my life, non-blood related people in my life that I know are ride or die. I can call them up if I need anything. They're there for me. I also know that they can call me at any time, regardless of what's needed. I got their back. So one of the bigger struggles I have in my life up until this point was knowing who truly has my back, because I put a lot of effort into showing people when they mean something to me that I have their back no matter what. I really do genuinely care about their well-being, their mental state. And I'm always willing to sit down and listen. And if they look at me as someone who they truly want some advice from, they don't have to take it, but if they want to know how I would deal with a situation, that's probably what I love the most about the people that I can count on, is that they know that I'm in touch with my emotional side, that I'm willing to give information and use experiences from my past to help them with their present. And for those who show their true colors and show me that they're not really there for me, they're not, in front of me, they act a certain way, but when I find out that certain things are being said or done, that's fine. I'm 47 years old. I don't need 900 people in my life. 1, 2, 3 people that I know I can count on for conversation, for emotional support, for being there in the proudest moments of my days. That's all I need. I don't need any more than that. Talking about regret, we're getting into some more negative aspects of life, the everyday struggles, I guess. I've always said that I don't regret anything in life, because everything that I've done in my past has gotten me to this point right now, having this conversation. And everything that I've done in my past, good or bad, has created the individual who is sitting here now, sharing my life with everyone out there. And being able to be the person I am now, enjoying the present moment, having that ability to do so. I don't know if I don't know if I would be able to do that if I didn't do all those things. Cause if I didn't do all those things, I wouldn't be here right now, right? I'd be somewhere else. So I don't want to say I don't regret anything, but are there things I wish I did differently? Are there things I wish I had done better? 100%. On the top of my list, the thing that I, let's say, regret the most is the fact that I stole away from my nieces and nephews the opportunity to have a super strong bond with their uncle. I look at my best friend, TJ, and I look at the relationship he has with his nieces and nephews. And I love the fact that whenever his eldest nephew comes over to the house, he's super excited to see Tom. He's super excited to see Uncle Tom. I think he just loves when he gets a time to come over and have a sleepover at our place. And I could have had that with my nieces and nephews, but selfishly, 17, 18 years ago, I chose to get into a career that allowed me to travel around the world constantly. And that is somewhat of an excuse because over those years, I have had multiple opportunities to take vacations, which I chose instead of going home to visit my family, I chose to, gallivant around the world. But it was selfish because my eldest nephew, who is about 17, almost 18, has only seen me maybe 9 times, 10 times. And then if you take the fact that each one of the other nephews and nieces, they're all kind of like the eldest, then 2 years, 2 years, 2 years, 2 years kind of deal. So there's Ari, who's the eldest, Caleb, who's the second, Hannah's the third, Ziva's the fourth, and Gideon's the fifth. And it's kind of split. Ari and Hannah are my oldest brother, Martin's kids, and Caleb, Ziva, and Gideon are my middle brother, Steven's kids. And we'll get into the two of them in a second, actually. But I have a wonderful bond with my uncle from my mother's brother. He's 20 years older than me and fully tattooed, piercings, way cool motherfucker. And when I was growing up, I only saw him every now and again sporadically until I was about a teenager because he moved to England for a fair bit of time and he lived a different lifestyle. So you didn't get to see him all the time. But once I became a teenager and I had a driver's license, I would occasionally skip school and go downtown Toronto because I lived in the suburbs 30 minutes away, and I would go hang out with him. And ever since I've been traveling around the world, whenever I go home, I always make the effort to find an afternoon to meet up with him, whether we go for food or we just go for a walk around Kensington Market. But when we get to see each other, we sit and we converse and we talk about life. We have real conversations. And I love that, man. Uncle David is one of the coolest motherfuckers to me I've ever met in my life. And I wish I had that bond I'm not saying I don't have that bond with them. What I'm saying is I stole away the opportunity to have an even better bond with all 5 of them. Now the youngest and the next couple olders, I still have that opportunity to build that relationship at a younger age. But the older ones that are teenagers, they're teenagers. So already, if I had not been selfish and if I had been home more and if I had spent more time with them and connected with them on a deeper level, then maybe I would have a bit more of phone calls and text messages on a regular basis to know how they're doing. But it is what it is. I can't do anything about the past. And I try to teach people on here all the time, you can't live in the past because you'll never be happy. So I try to live in the present. And what I'm trying to do right now is whenever I call my brothers is that if the kids are around, I try to holler at them, or I might send them an occasional text message. But again, how often does a teenager want to hear from their uncle? That is kind of estranged. I'm just never around. I do absolutely adore the fact that when I am around, depending on the age, they genuinely want to have time with me, which I love. So when I do see them, I try to sit with them individually and have a conversation and find out where they're at. How's life? What's it like to be, a girl at this age, a boy at that age, or I try to share experiences, about my life when I was their age. And the lesson I've learned in trying not to regret things is look at what's in your past that bothers you and think about what you can do today to fix that situation. So for me, it is making sure they know that I'm available for them. So if they ever did need to talk to somebody that wasn't their mom or dad, they can call me, they can text me. There isn't a single thing that I wouldn't do on this planet to make sure any one of them is safe. And I genuinely want to spend more time with them when I'm able to, right? Like I have to make more effort at getting home to see them because again, the eldest is going off to university in September. And then every 2 years after that, another one's going to go because that's that's the age difference there. So I don't want to miss out on any of like the big moments in their life. Like I want them to want to share that with me. So I know that I have to make the effort with them. But to answer your question, I would say probably the biggest regret I have in my life, or no, one of the top 3 regrets I have in my life would be not being there for them when they were growing up, because I would have loved to have been a part of their life. I would have loved to have gone to dance recitals, gymnastics, hockey games, football games. I would have loved to have been like in the stands, seeing that sort of stuff. So I can't regret it completely because I am where I am now and I'm happy who I am. But if there's anyone out there that was becoming an uncle, an aunt, I would say if you have the opportunity, spend time with those kids at the young ages and really let them get to know you, because you have a vast knowledge of experience that you can share with them so that their lives can hopefully be navigated a little bit more with ease. And the other regret, honestly, would be with my mom and dad is when I was a teenager, I stole a lot of things away from them, moments that they would have been proud of. And I remember I was a teenager, I used to be that kid that like didn't have parents, like you're walking in the mall and I would be like 10 steps behind my mom and dad because it wasn't cool to have parents. And that was such a dick move to do because my parents were fucking awesome. I was so lucky. I had 2 parents in the same house that loved each other, that didn't fight, and showed us like a lot. Like if you think about what you see as a kid, like they taught me so much stuff. They created this on such a huge level. And there were so many things that I could have done differently. I could have been a better student. I could have involved my parents more in my life, in my personal life. But it's hard when you're a kid, like you're not sure how to kind of have those conversations, which, whose shoulders does that lie on? I don't know, but I know that I could have done better in those situations and I could have been a much better son. And obviously, just wishing I had more time. Right now I call my mom like every couple of days to make sure she's good, to see how she's doing, what's new, how you feeling, you exercising, and my dad, I only get to talk to him, on those moments where I feel like I need to, because he's no longer with us physically. So the regret of not taking advantage of the time I had with the family members when they were alive. That's a huge, huge thing for me. And on that topic about like family members, I have 2 older brothers, Martin, who is 7 years my elder, and then Stephen, who's 3 years my elder. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately. It's interesting to think of, when you're a kid, for anyone out there who has siblings, older or younger, when you're a child and you're living in a house, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of you, whatever it might be, the individualness amongst all of you is sometimes so extreme that sometimes I guess it makes sense that you don't all hang out all the time because, again, there's different ages. You're at different stages in your life. And sometimes, when you're closer in age, I guess, you have kind of maybe the same friend group and you have that different bond. Now, I was fortunate. I had a strong bond with individually both of my brothers as I was growing up for different reasons, different similarities, and obviously different differences. But as the youngest child, looking up to the two of them in many different ways, as I got older, like more like teenage 20s, 30s, you kind of see people for who they are, and you aspire to be similar to them in certain ways. And when you think of all the things that could have possibly happened when you were younger, I'm so grateful and so thankful that I have these two gentlemen in my life still, because so many things could happen and have to so many other people. Many people, I know a handful of people who have lost a sibling at a young age. I know people that don't even speak to their siblings, like literally haven't spoken a word to them in years, if not maybe a decade. And I have, for again, the 17 or 18 years that I've been traveling around the world, I have not been as present as I could have been with my family members. And because of that, it's very important. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is making the effort with family while they're alive is unbelievably like a necessity, because one day you or them, you will cease to exist on this planet as a physical being. And these are people that you at least lived in the same house with for a period of time, like until I want to say 16. I had at least one of them in the house, but by the time I was 16, by the time I was 16, they were kind of both already gone off to university. And all the things that could have happened in that time, you forget once life starts happening as you're older, you forget the importance of making the effort. And there's been a great deal of time in the past decade and almost 2 decades where we've went long periods of time without speaking. Now, it doesn't take away from the love. It doesn't take away from, that's my brother. That doesn't take away from the, I would do anything for them kind of deal. But it does kind of suck that like you allow life to go that way and you stop talking to those people that you grew up with. And yeah, we've had our differences. I mean, we've lived together outside of our parents' house, but all three of us have lived together in the same apartment or house. And then me and either one of them have lived together in an apartment or a house separate from our parents' place as well. So to think that I've spent the last almost 2 decades physically away from them, and then for the most part, like in any given year up until recently, I may have only spoken to them maybe 6 times in a year. Like it's absolutely silly that I allowed that to happen, that any of us allowed that to happen. It doesn't make sense whatsoever. So when I say it's very important to make that effort, is you can't wait for other people to make that effort. If you notice that there's something that you want more of in your life, and I want my family more in my life. I want to express and share and let them know what's going on and how I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, what's new. So about 5 months ago, about 6 months ago, I made the decision, like I do with many things, to put it into my disciplinary practices that I'm going to reach out to my brothers. At the beginning, the first month and a half was like, I'm going to call them once a week. I'm going to call them once a week, and I'm going to have a conversation with my brothers. Now, in a week, everyone's busy with life. What really happens in a week? Sometimes not a whole lot, but every 2 weeks, sure. So I've made that effort now. Every single 2 weeks, I put in a phone call, and if they're busy, because everyone has their own business, I leave a message or a text message. Hey, just calling to, catch up. And they always call me back. I get a call back, and then we sit and we have a long, sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes 15 or 20-minute conversation about what is going on in life. Now, I don't have kids right now, so I find out about my nieces and nephews from them. They find out about what's going on in my life, job, girlfriend, plans for the future, different business platforms I'm creating. I find out about what they're doing in their jobs. We just have real conversations about life. And again, because of where I'm at right now in my life, I'm so happy that we're doing this, because every single 2 weeks, I get something to look forward to. I get to call my brothers, And I get to hear about what's going on in their lives. Like, are you good? Are you happy? Are you sad? What's going on with your wife? What's going on with the kids? What are the kids doing? What sports are they doing? Like, all of this stuff is important to me. And I'm so wonderfully happy that I made that decision to make the effort. And that's why I'm saying this to everyone right now is like, if you haven't talked to a sibling, a parent, an uncle, like anyone that you were close to before, you want to be close to now, you just have to pick up the phone. We have these lovely devices at our fingertips, and we can contact people via text, phone call, or even video call. Like, that's crazy. 2025, we have the ability to communicate with so many people, no matter where they are in the world. So I strongly suggest, if you have a relationship with a family member that isn't as strong as you would like it, I would definitely make that effort, put it into your practice, like write it in your journal, set an alarm on your clock, and just pick up the phone and call them. Just say hi, just start the conversation. Like, I'm so much happier now that I have that regular conversation with my brothers. And I hope in time, like I said before, I hope in time that my nieces and nephews feel comfortable enough that if there's something going on in their life, good or bad, they can call me. And even if it's like a 2-minute call, dude, that would light up my life without a doubt. Like, I would love it. So there's a little bit about regret and a little bit about, taking the first steps to make the effort with your family. It's super important. And I think everyone should do that. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out each and every week here at the Lyfe Choyces podcast. We'll see you next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Don't forget to scroll on down and hit subscribe, please. Much love, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen.
You are now about
The Journey, Life Choices podcast.